Alright, so today we are doing a deck I affectionately refer to as Edgy Eevee, which is kind of a sarcastic joke. I named it that because the super dark gothic vibe from Umbreon and Espion mixed with the kind of cutesy vibe from Sylveon made me think of like 2008, 2010 scene girls, who try to be all dark and mysterious, but in reality dressed like this. So just a little bit of banter there, but in reality, this combination of evolutions works surprisingly well. It's a very versatile deck. Um, I will say that individually they can be a bit underwhelming, but we'll discuss it here in a second. Now, when you're playing EV decks, the key thing that you want to do is you want to get an EV that has the ability Energy Evolution. Basically, what happens is when you put an energy on it, it immediately triggers the ability to evolve this EV to one of its evolved forms from the deck based off of the energy, which is why we can get away with running three different types in this deck. Because literally all you need to do, at least with these these three EVs here, is just put an energy on it and it automatically evolves by pulling one of these two from the deck. Now, the best part about that is it can actually evolve on first turn, which is a reason why we're going to want to play second, because otherwise we just kind of miss out on our attack. So we'll talk about these EVs real quick, what makes them so cool. It basically just comes down to they're very cheap to activate and very cheap to play. Their effects, while mildly underwhelming, are pretty diverse. So as you can see, this one, you can force a whirlwind effect, which is where you swap either your opponent or your own Pokemons from the bench. You swap from the active Pokemon on the bench Pokemon. Shadow Bullet's decent, kind of whatever though. And you also have the Dark Call GX ability, which is where you pitch your two powerful from your Pokemon. Umbreon, if I'm being entirely honest, is kind of a finisher. Sylveon is our starter. Sylveon is how we set up our board to dominate, because Magical Ribbon is an OP attack. You literally search for 3 cards. There's no specifications. It doesn't have to be Pokemon, Trainer, Energy cards, whatever you need. Sylveon will just go get it for you. Her primary attack, just doing 110, is, it's damage, but I wouldn't necessarily write home about it. And Espion is kind of our big hitter. Psybeam, 30 damage, confuse the Pokemon. It's not bad. Psychic is the real winner here, though, because a lot of the Pokemon out there require a lot of energy, and so you can often get like about 150 for the attack off of that. And of course, if you use the Divide GX ability, you can do damage to some stuff on the bench as well, possibly get a handful of knockouts, or weaken up your Pokemon or your opponent's Pokemon, so that way your less than stellar EV attacks can actually finish the job. And of course, back to Sylveon here. You can force your opponents to take his already energized stuff and put it back in his hand. We do have one other EX Pokemon. We have 2 actually. We've got this Togepi, Cleffa, and Igglybuff. Doesn't really fit with the whole Eevee thing, but it honestly is too good to pass up, and I happened upon one, so I'm keeping it and I'm using it. So Rolling Panic is kind of a toss in the air as to whether or not it does a lot of damage, but the GX ability on this is the part that I really like. It's an extra turn, so you can basically spend one entire turn running setup with, and then use this as the extra Pokemon to prepare for a swing. Now, you might be wondering about these two. Basically, this Ditto allows you to evolve it into any Stage 1 Pokemon, so that's any Pokemon after Basic. So it doesn't really matter that it is not an Eevee. Functionally, it is the same. Now, you might notice that diamond thing, and if you saw the other video, my Salamence video, you probably saw the other diamond thing. If you look closely, it says Prism Star just underneath the picture, and basically you can only have one card with a Prism Star on it, and after you play it, it it gets exiled. It's put in. They call it the Lost Zone in Pokemon, but if you're more into MTG like I am, we refer to that as the exile pile. And then this Eevee allows you to just evolve it from any form. You're only allowed to have 4 of any one Pokemon by the same name, and so I just wanted to get an extra Eevee in there, just because, I mean, we have 6 Evolutions in the deck. We've got 2 Sylveons, 2 Umbreons, 2 Espions, so now we have 4 Eevees, and then 2 other things that we can evolve it into, and then of course we have the Cubone and Marowak combo. Yeah, Marowak comes in Psychic as well. It does the exact same thing as the Fire one in the Salamence video, which is you use the attack without actually having to have any energy on it to go fetch energy and put it on your Pokemon, which is kind of cool, although I haven't done this yet. You can combo it off and just put them on the Eevees and then instantly evolve them. Again, I haven't done it, but that would be a hilarious interaction. So, trainers. We don't really need to focus on a lot except for getting energy. So, a lot of card draw. We have a little bit of energy fetching, some energy recursion. Now, because we want to keep our evolutions in the deck, that way we can get more value off of triggering them, I do have this in here, so we can shuffle it in, get an Eevee, and this trigger an instant evolution. Other than that, we got some Pokemon Center Ladies to heal a little bit of damage. Now this one is cool. I overlooked it, and I'm probably going to start adding it to more of my decks. This is, it's a reverse version of Switch, which is where you force your, Switch, you force your own Pokemon to swap from bench to active, but you can force your opponents to do it with this, so you can hit a more optimal kill target. And then as far as energy goes, we got 4 each of Psychic, Fairy, and Dark. And then we've got some double energies, and that's really all we need to run. I will admit that probably in the future, if there are more videos featuring this entire section, the trainer section, is going to be modified a bit because it's kind of suboptimal, but we'll talk about that another time. For now, let's get a couple games in. Trying out some Edgy Eevee. Lost the coin flip. Hopefully this guy thinks going first is a good idea. He does not. Alright. While I'm setting up this turn, I want to talk about a couple of mistakes that I made in the first video. The first is I mentioned that I thought my opponent probably had an optimized deck because he had to shuffle 4 times. And the reason why that is there's a couple of decks in the meta that are solely focused around... Actually, hold up. I think I want to put a Sylveon out. So let's actually go get some energy with this real quick. We'll get a Fairy in the dark just in case, because all we have right now is Psychic. So I'm going to use the Fairy to transform Eevee into a Sylveon. Just like that. See, normally you have to wait a turn to evolve a Pokemon, but with the energy evolution, it's an instantaneous effect. Let's see. We didn't have the Eevee when we started, so this would probably be the right thing to do right now. Well, we can't attack, so it's not really relevant. Whatever. Anyway, back to what I was saying. There are apparently some decks out there that run a very low number of Pokemon because the name of the game when you're deck building is to focus in on usually one Pokemon specifically, and everything else in there is there solely to support your Pokemon. That's why in this build and the last build, I have the Cubone Marowak combo. Even though they're not really featured as attackers, they're support for what the deck is supposed to be doing. In the last one, the entire focus was on trying to get as much mana as possible on my Salamence before I go out and just start attacking, where in this one, it's just all about getting my Eevees out so I have the diversity necessary to more or less go in and just get all the damage that I can. Alright. We are going to let's take a second and take a look at what our opponent's got. He's got a Gaible, which I'm assuming is supposed to evolve into a Garchomp. A Type Null, which is a weird Pokemon in general, and Riolu. So it's very obvious that he plans to evolve all of these. Probably this too. I don't know what the focus of this deck is, but I also don't know the focus of most decks, so just take it as we go, take it in stride. I think what we're gonna go ahead and do, we'll go ahead and load this thing up with some extra energy, but for now, all we can really do is play Magic Ribbon. So we'll use that to go get another Eevee, and from this we can actually also see that since we only have 2 other regular Eevees in our deck, that means we have 1 in the prize pile. Fairly useful information. Let's see. What else do we want to get? We definitely want to get one of these. It'll speed up our power level, and then I'm trying to think if there's a trainer we could actually make use of. You know what? It never hurts to have an extra switch in hand. So, yeah, that'll do it. Anyway, as I was saying, if you only have a handful of Pokemon on the deck, and then everything else is just run to support it, that's actually a pretty decent build. But of course, the obvious downside is you're giving your opponent card advantage for every single time that you have to shuffle up and mull. So, kind of a counter strategy. That's why, at least at this point in time, I'm not planning to use it. But, you know, we'll see how things pan out in the future. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure the guy I'm playing against isn't super experienced. Oh, hey, here's the Sylvanese that our opponent evolved before quitting in the last game. What does he do? Let's see. He allows you to draw to 5. His swing. Oh, okay, he cares about supporters. And something called an Ultra Beast, I guess. Well, looks like he just activated his draw 5 ability, so that's pretty cool. Good bite. Yeah. I don't know a whole lot to say there. He just forced us to swap. Which means I think we're probably just going to have to actively sacrifice Cubone, and we'll load up our options for better stuff later. Let's go ahead and put the Psychic Energy on Eevee, and we will go hit that. And while we're in here, let's take... Okay, yeah, we do have another Umbreon in there. So we'll go ahead and get our SPN up to the base. Right now, I could play Cynthia and reset my hand, but that would actually be kind of upsetting to the plan. I think the best option here is... It's hard to say. Dealing with a Garchomp, it's not going to be able to attack until next turn. And what it's going to do is 50 damage to one of the Pokemon. So he's probably not even going to focus on Cubone. I think what we'll do is we'll switch again. And we'll play Magical Ribbon one more time. We will get another Eevee. We'll get this Ditto. And we will get another switch, just in case. Ooh, I forgot about the fact that he probably has double energies as well. Interesting. So he also interacts with Cynthia. Okay, so this entire deck is actually strongly focused on the use of support cards. That's kind of a cool design. I like that. That makes me wonder what else we're going to be in for. Yeah, we just barely survived that. We're probably going to have to sacrifice Sylveon, but before we do, we are going to get some damage in. So, oh well, let's see. Let's focus on benching up real quick. Let's go ahead and hit it with these guys. And just so we can get a round bit of energy on Sylveon. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, we don't necessarily need to lose Sylveon. We could swap off over into Espeon and use Psychic because we do have Switch in hand. Huh. Yeah. Let's start with Pokemon Center Lady. And we will switch over to the Espeon. And we will use Psybeam, and hopefully us not thinking about it ahead of time will not bite us later on. Hard to tell if that's going to be the case or not, though, if I'm being entirely honest. But we have him confused, so there's a possibility that, one, we're going to dodge damage next turn, and, you know, more importantly, he'll do damage to himself. That Pokemon's about as loaded up as it's going to get, which means our Psychic is only going to do 120 points of damage. That's still reasonable. Oh, yeah, he pulled it out. Pulled back. Oh, see, look at that tricky. Okay. What do we want to put out? Because whatever we put out is probably going to get stomped. The Cubone. We don't care about Cubone. Poor Cubone. Can't tell if he's thinking or not. Yeah, he is. I think this thing's only got 150 health. Yeah, so unless he plays a healer support right now, I'll be able to come in and knock that thing out with my Espeon. And then I would assume his follow-up play is probably going to be this Silvally, yeah. I'm still new with, I'm still not up to date with some of the newer Pokemon. I played Cynthia, which, I mean, not really bad for us because I don't care about losing this Cubone. So he's gonna go get 2 evolved forms, Lucario and Garchomp. Precognitive Aura. Once per turn, if you have a Garchomp into play, this is well put together. I wonder if this is like a precon. Like, if this is probably an upgrade precon, if I'm being entirely honest. Or at least it could be. It's like everything is synergized. It's just the Pokemon are all kind of underwhelming and slightly dependent. If you have a Garchomp, you just fetch. That's all. And then he's got an attack that's not affected by resistance. Big deal. Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, we're either going to lose our Espeon or Sylveon right here. I think he's kind of weighing his options. Ah, he went for the Sylveon. That's actually probably better for us to lose than the Espion, because the Espion's actually going to knock out that Garchomp. The Sylveon wouldn't. It would be 10 damage too short. So, very sad to see Sylveon go. But we got our early game plays out of her, so it's fine. We will go ahead and bring in Espion to go and clean up house. Alright, so we'll go ahead and turn this Ditto into a Umbreon. And now would actually be a good time to play our Cynthia. Perfect. So we have a switch for when we need it. We got some damage prevention. Yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to say. Psychic. There's some psychic energy. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what he picks next. I'm not super impressed with that Spiritomb. Like, again, it's one of those things where I can see the functionality based off of what this deck's supposed to do, but I really don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Especially since he's not apparently going to play an energy, or at least so far hasn't. Well, he played it, but it wasn't on the Spiritomb. So I think that means he's playing to sack it. Huh. Let's think about something real quick. This only has 50. This has 70. This has 110. You're not really ready for combat, though. Yeah. Let's try not to think about it too hard, is what I say. Actually, it's a little early, but let's go ahead and do our GX move. So we're going to put 50 on that, which is going to automatically knock it out. And then I really want to weaken the GX Pokemon. Just because when we do have to face it, that's going to be an issue. Hey, it's the Igglybuff thing. I don't know why that clock sound is playing. We're done waiting. Speaking of clock, what's the time on this video? We're already at 24 minutes. I mean, that makes sense. There was definitely a bit of a longer period of time discussing the deck, and so far there's been a lot of instances in which both me and my opponent were really trying to think about how we want to handle this situation. Alright, so he put the investment in the Spiritomb. What does he actually have in his grave? Cynthia, escape rope, honestly just all kinds of stuff. And he got both the Cynthias back, which means he's probably setting up for another Garchomp. but he didn't play the Garchomp. Alright. Well, this is definitely going on the field. We'll play the Pokemon Fan Club to go fetch. We will fetch the Eevee, and just to get it out of the deck, we will fetch the Cubone. Put the Eevee on the field. I'm thinking I want to go ahead and have another Espeon ready if necessary. So we will go ahead and go get our second Espeon. Have him on the field, and we will Psychic out the Spirit Tomb because currently it is vulnerable enough for an instant kill. Another Heal Charm. Those honestly don't do much. I mean, they've saved my bacon a couple of times in the past in this deck, and they stopped our Sylveon from insta-dying to a Garchomp attack earlier. But, I don't know, just stopping only 20 damage, just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Ah, Gumshoes. This is the one that everyone thought looked like Donald Trump. I mean, kinda. That was 4 years ago. What set is he from? Let's see, we just had... It's really hard to think, because I've only really followed Pokemon all the way up to Generation 5, I think. And I'm aware of a lot of the stuff from Alolan. I think this is from Alolan. Possibly. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But, like, I know of one... No, I know of 2 Pokemon from the new series. Sobble, just because a lot of people were making jokes about that one. And then Wooloo, the sheep one. You know, the one that's like a worse version of Mareep. In my opinion, worse. Alright, he's looking for evolved forms. He got his Garchomp. Let's see, he forced us to shuffle our hand earlier, and weirdly, we actually benefited from it. Let's see, we'll get the double colorless on... I don't think Shadow Bolt's gonna go right. Well, actually, it might be. Depending. I really need to think about the way that I'm investing my my attacks, though. We'll Psybeam this. Maybe the Confusion. Or no, Confusion's only relevant if they actually attack, and he hasn't been doing a whole lot of that lately. I think next turn, depending on how things go, we will swap over to the Umbreon because we did just get a switch. We got the whole set. That's something we gotta be aware of. Oh, he put him in front. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure he just put him in from the graveyard. That's what this stretcher does. This right here. Yep. Alright. Evolve. Switch card. Choose Umbreon. And we will use Shadow Bullet. We will do secondary damage to his EX Pokemon. Because at this point, the sooner we knock that out, the sooner we can wrap up this game. Like, I don't... He's really thinking it out here. I don't know why he hasn't been playing energy lately. Is it all like stuck in his prize pool? Is that what's going on? Or did he just evolve? Oh no, the gumshoes. Okay. I kind of like the art on some of these. The thumbnail pick I have in mind for this is gonna be pretty cool. But I'm pretty sure you'll have seen it at this point. Spent a lot of time looking at these cool cards. Thumbs up. Why complicate it, I guess? We'll just go ahead and hit you with an energy. Fetch some more energy. Oh, I should have another psychic for my other Espion. Oh, I'm dumb. Alright. Get the Professor Kukri. I don't have any valid reason to do anything other than attack at this point. So we will continue to bully that GX Pokemon in the back. And at this point, all we need is one other knockout, no matter what it is, and we win the game. Oh, that's cool. So basically what he did is he skipped the 2 stages. For this being a stage 2 Pokemon, you usually have to go stage 1, stage 2 to stage... Or sorry, basic to stage 1 to stage 2. And Rare Candy allows you to cut out the middleman, essentially. I actually thought about putting it on my Salamence deck. And I might do that, actually. Because that was a solid move. I mean, now we actually have to deal with this. And he swapped it out? He swapped it out for a Pokemon that is much more likely to just... Okay, whatever. If you want to die that badly, I will go ahead and grant you a swift death. I think this is his way of giving up, which is weird because there is a concede button. Alright, I'm going to eventually do another video with this deck, but this one just took way too long. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. So thanks for checking it out. Probably the next time that we do this, I will have an updated version of the deck, and we'll talk about it more then. So for now, thanks for watching, and please show this to anyone who you think might like it.